With its factory tuning and data center DNA, an Intel 730 series SSD is an amazing choice for gamers and performance enthusiasts. Now, the goal for the Simple Audio Listen was to design something that looks gorgeous, sounds amazing, and works seamlessly, a bold goal for a relatively unknown brand. The various inputs include USB for PC and Mac, that's driverless, 3.5mm line-in, and Bluetooth. The ID, or industrial design, is the result of months of collaboration with BMW Designworks USA. It uses premium materials, including aluminium, if you're European, or aluminum if you're Canadian or American, high-quality polycarbonate, and acoustic fabric with tight manufacturing tolerances. The packaging is excellent. I mean, it's obvious that whoever's working over there knows a thing or two about A, eco-friendly, and B, very, very appealing-looking packaging, and everything is tucked away quite nicely. So the cords are all wrapped up all nicely. Everything's, packaged nicely. I guess there's not really much else to say about it. The Listen has a pretty unique capacitive touch interface that is navigated using gestures and by pressing on icons around the corners. So power, to power it on, duh. Volume is controlled by sliding your finger or touching the bar in the middle. Bluetooth connectivity is controlled with the Bluetooth button, so just press and hold to engage pairing mode. And line-in illuminates if it detects a source, then brightens it if it's the active input. Mute functionality is pretty self-explanatory. You press that in order to mute it. If touching things sounds like too much work, we've also got an included IR remote control. It won't allow track skipping or pausing and resuming playback if you're using the line in, but when Listen is connected via USB to your PC or Mac, which doesn't require any drivers, by the way, the remote can be used to control a variety of music playback programs, including iTunes, Windows Media Player, and MediaMonkey. It also works when you're connected via Bluetooth. Now, the last thing you want is something that's all show and no go, and they absolutely are beautiful. They do show. But Listen borrows many internal design cues from the audiophile world. It features two-way bi-amplified speakers, which is just, it's just a fancy way of saying that it has two separate drivers, each with separate amps to drive them. There's a 3-inch driver with rare earth magnets for the mid and low range and a silk dome ferrofluid cooled tweeter. It also includes a compression driver to help with the lows, which you can see if you pull the unit apart, although this is not something that is generally recommended, so there's that passive pressure driver. The benefit of separate amps to drive each of the main speakers is that it provides plenty of headroom to reproduce sound correctly at both low volume and at peak output and everywhere in between. Separate amps also enable the system to use its finely tuned DSP-based active crossovers to improve dynamic range, reduce distortion, and generally give the system better control over each driver. This is a great feature. Active crossovers are just plain better, and the main reason less expensive systems use a passive crossover is simply to save on the cost. Now, compression is a word that has a definite stigma associated with it when it comes to audio quality, but the intelligent dynamic compression method used by Listen is not the same as the bitrate compression that MP3 audio files undergo. This kind of compression is designed to control the audio output of the speakers so that at very high volume levels you don't encounter clipping or distortion. Dynamic compression will mostly affect the low frequency or bass performance of the system, but Simple Audio's got you covered there. With a dedicated subwoofer output, you are able to add your own powered subwoofer to the Listen to improve your listening experience. Listening tests were a bit tricky for these speakers because my initial impressions of them from back when I started this review almost 6 months ago were fairly negative given their price. But when I told Simple Audio this, they retorted that I simply hadn't experienced other speakers in this price range and lacked the appropriate context to do the review. So I said, okay, fine then. And I shelved the review. Now, it would have been easy for me to just conclude that Simple Audio is a bunch of deluded buttheads and their speakers are fashion accessory crap, and then just leave them collecting dust, but that wouldn't be very professional, and between Simple Audio's statement and all the requests that I've gotten for speaker reviews over the years, I figured maybe it's time to come at this category from a different angle. I ran out and got Bose Companion 5s, Audio Engine A2 Pluses, A5 Pluses, and some Bowers & Wilkins MM1s for context, and then set to work reviewing each and every one of them, including taking another crack at the Simple Audio Listens. And you know what? My conclusion actually changed. It's easy to sit in front of speakers and say, nah, they don't really sound that great. When your only point of reference is what your imagination figures $500 speakers should sound like, and you're not doing side-by-side A/B listening, or in this case ABCDE listening, with other real products that actually exist. It's much harder to find the faults in the listens when I can see the obvious faults in other similarly priced products as well. Compared to the MM1, subjectively the listens don't look as good to me, and they do not deliver the same crystal clear highs, but they do deliver strong stereo imaging, equally satisfying mids, and more detailed bass. And while either of them gets loud enough for most near-field listening at a desk, the listens get much louder than the MM1s without any distortion, although you still won't be hosting any parties with them. Compared to the Audio Engine A2 Pluses, which I was expecting to blow the doors off the premium, fashion statement speakers in my roundup from a price to performance standpoint, I'd say they perform similarly, but better, with a touch more bass without any tuning. And while they do cost much more, unlike the MM1s, they're also delivering some additional functionality with the touch controls and the Bluetooth connectivity, which is a pretty big point for these. The A5 Plus and the Bose Companion 5 both wreck the listens for movie watching and gaming in terms of bass if you don't add a sub with the optional port at the back, but of course they're both much larger and therefore not for everyone, and I actually prefer the listens to the Companion 5s anyway for music listening. So I guess it's overall conclusion time. Ultimately, who is this product designed for, and where is it designed to be used? According to Simple Audio, a variety of settings. The ability of the listens to sound good as a near-field speaker on your PC desktop and to also perform well when you use the included cable extension and set them up further apart on a speaker stand as a room speaker is touted as a major selling point. But for me, as someone who positions speakers in one place and doesn't move them much, this versatility is of less value to me, especially because it comes with so many cables and power bricks and stuff that they're not that convenient to move around. And I also think that there are just plain better options at this price if I wanted room speakers. But if I was going to use them in their wheelhouse, near-field listening at a desk where aesthetics are an important factor and music listening at a reasonable level is a priority with no desire to wake up my neighbors, and having high-quality Bluetooth is important, then I've seen much stupider products than the listens, and I'd rather you buy this than most of the other fancy Bluetooth speakers on the market, since at least they look good and offer other options for connectivity in the longer term. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Like this video if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it. Leave a comment, let me know what you thought about this review, what you think about our videos in general, if you think my hair sucks, my teeth are too yellow, or if there's any other just things that you really gotta, get out of your system about me. Because I do read the comments, and I take them all very personally. And if you did enjoy the video, though, and you don't have any personal attacks to hurl at me, then of course there's a support us link in the video description. You can go ahead and give us a monthly contribution. You can buy t-shirts. You can give us a kickback whenever you buy stuff on Amazon by using our affiliate code. So all that stuff is super helpful. Thank you guys very much for watching. And as always, don't forget to subscribe. I'm sure there's something else in my outro, but I just forget it. I'm really tired. I was up till 4 last night scripting my M8 review.